Americans are getting scammed and they just proved it to us. So we have been talking about the border crisis for some time now. We've heard President Joe Biden say that something has to be done. There are many Republicans and Democrats that both agree that the border crisis is something that needs to be addressed, which is why many feel as if the American people have been scammed with this latest move from the Senate. So instead of focusing on the Texas border, they intentionally left it out of the $95 billion package aid for other countries. Yeah, so many analysts feel as if this was a disrespect to the Americans across the nation. So the Senate passed a $95.3 billion package that would provide additional money to Ukraine, to Israel, and to Taiwan. As we all know, both countries are in conflicts at this time, and they don't necessarily involve the United States. However, this did not stop the Senate from passing this bill, with 22 Republicans surprisingly voting in favor with Democrats. Former President Donald Trump has shown a distaste for the provision of money for foreign nations, with the United States and the American people basically being left out in the cold. And so this is why he argued that we should just pretty much stop providing money to other countries unless it's in the form of a loan. This means that the money will actually be paid back, and probably with some interest too. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, right? The Senate, however, did not see it the same way. And like I said, Republicans, they made up the numbers to give this thing a 70-29 pass. Now, Mitch McConnell, he went on record to say that history will remember that the Senate did not blink with this bill, meaning that they gave everything that Democrats wanted. But what's in this bill exactly? Well, it includes $60 billion for the Ukraine, allegedly to keep fighting its war with Russia, $14.1 billion in security assistance for Israel, $9.2 billion in humanitarian assistance, and $4.8 billion to support regional partners in the Indo-Pacific that includes Taiwan. Now, just like I said a second ago, we expect that this bill would have something for the southern border, right? Well, President Joe Biden himself said that he would shut down the border the minute this bill passed, but that he needed both Republicans and Democrats to kind of work together. Well, they worked together, all right, but not for the American people. Biden has also repeatedly said that Trump is to blame if the borders are not secured, which makes many analysts wonder what he's going to say next after this bill. I should note that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky gave his thanks to Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, and every U.S. senator that voted for this bill. Now, before I get any further into this, and I have a lot more to share with you guys today, if you could just take a quick second, drop a like for the video. I really do appreciate you guys. And also, thank you so very much for always sharing the videos. It definitely helps out the channel a ton. You have no idea. So Chuck Schumer said that this money will ensure their victory, even though many critics are wondering how long it's going to take for that to happen. But do note that things are not over yet when it comes to this bill. Nope. So the House still needs to vote on this bill, and as far as we know, they're not willing to do it. President Joe Biden is urging House Republicans to get this bill to his table. The problem is that House Speaker Mike Johnson might not even bring a vote to it, as he's saying that it does nothing for Americans. And he's right. He said that Americans deserve better and that the bill lacked provisions for the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, this has Democrats on thin ice because they absolutely want this on Biden's desk. And this is exactly the reason why they contemplated a discharge petition. That would actually force a House vote, a maneuver that requires the signatures of a majority of House members. Now, the last time that this worked was back in 2015. And so that means that if House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries wants to do this, he's got a lot of people to convince. And it's certainly not looking good for them, since even centrist Republicans who strongly support aid for the Ukraine are hesitant to go against Johnson. Both Republican representatives, Don Bacon and John Duarte, they've already admitted that they're probably not going to vote for this petition. So no, I don't think that Jeffries would be able to get the 218 votes, given that Republicans hold a majority in the House, 219 to 212. Now, to date, not a single Republican in the House has confirmed that they would sign a discharge petition. Some argue that this is the best time for them to show a spine for the American people. But this bill is not just for the Ukraine, for Israel, and for Taiwan. So one Republican senator said that there's actually something hidden in it which will act as a fail-safe for Democrats come November. Now, it's obvious they do not want another Trump term, especially as Trump himself has alluded to getting revenge on political enemies. Senator J.D. Vance said that the bill includes text that could impeach the next president if they choose to stop funding Ukraine. Interesting how they're trying to plug this into this bill. So it makes you really wonder just how important Ukraine is to them, isn't it? I mean, just like I said a second ago, Trump doesn't want the United States funding other countries without getting the money back. The Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative is set to provide billions of dollars to Ukraine and will expire by September 30th of next year. So that's 9 months into the term of the next president of the United States. Now, if Trump wins this thing, Vance cited that the Democrats might make a similar move to that of December 19th. So back then, the former president was being impeached by the Democrats as he put a hold on funding that was set for Kiev at the time. The senator also said that Democrats are probably going to be doing the exact same thing if Trump tries to get in the way of money for the Ukraine again. Is he reaching with this theory, or is this something that they'd absolutely do just to kind of get Trump removed from office? Now, since we talked about impeachments, President Joe Biden's top border official, Alejandro Mayorkas, has just been impeached. The House of Representatives approved 2 articles of impeachment accusing the Homeland Security Secretary of not enforcing U.S. immigration laws.
On this vote, the yeas are 214 and the nays are 213. The resolution is adopted. Pursuant to Section 2A of House Resolution 996, House Resolution 995 is hereby adopted.
Republicans have just voted to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. The razor-thin vote played out along party lines. The margin just a single vote. 3 Republicans voted against the impeachment. In a statement tonight, President Biden is blasting the move, calling it a, quote, blatant act of unconstitutional partisanship. Speaker Johnson, in a statement, said Mayorkas deserves to be impeached.
They have argued that his inaction has led to the record flow of migrants into the U.S.-Mexico border. It passed narrowly and is only the second time in history that the House has impeached a member of the president's cabinet. Now, to date, a record number of migrants have flowed into the United States under the Biden administration, even though they continue to pin the blame on former President Donald Trump. House Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that senators would be sworn in as jurors. However, it's unlikely that they vote to remove Mayorkas from office. Mayorkas, in his defense, says that he's done nothing wrong now. He said that this is not his responsibility, and what's truly at fault is Congress for not fixing the broken immigration system. President Biden, on his end, said that the history won't favor Republicans for doing something like this. He says that Republicans targeted an honorable public servant who's just doing his job to protect our borders. Do you agree with him? Now, there's a huge security concern over at the border, and the same can be said for apps that we use here at home, one of which is TikTok. So the federal government actually had the app removed and completely banned from the US government devices. But look who's on it now. That's right, President Joe Biden. Now, you gotta wonder, why the sudden 180, right? Well, analysts and experts agree that Biden and his team, they're well aware that their supporters are now waning, especially when it comes to younger voters. Now, the outlook is that this is their way of showing that the president is still hip and he can kind of hang with the younger generation. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work out for him, but it's very clear that they're now becoming very desperate to convince voters to get back on his side. But what do you guys think? Do you see him getting more votes because of getting on TikTok? I think it's a little ironic because he's the same guy that was trying to ban TikTok from the United States altogether, but now he wants to get on TikTok and try to get his votes and voter base back in line. Yeah. So anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do my best to keep you guys informed on everything that's going on. Before I go, just want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.